Hey, you're all right, man. That's me. I'm really enjoying it.
Call the council meeting to order at this time. Pastor Craig McAdams, Hampton First Baptist Church, and remain standing for the pledge of the flag. Pastor McAdams.
Let's pray. Father, we thank you for tonight. We thank you for the freedom that we have in our country to be able to come together in a setting like this. Thank you for our community, for this fine town that we're able to live in. We thank you for our leaders, Father, for those that make decisions to help our community and to make our community better. We lift them up to you tonight, and we thank you that they are ones that are seeking the very best. And so we pray that you give them wisdom as they make decisions tonight. Give them wisdom every day. Father, we pray for our leaders in our country, Father, that are leading us every day. We pray for their safety. We pray for their wisdom. And Father, may you bless our country. Father, we thank you for our police. Thank you for our firefighters. We thank you for our military, all those that protect us every day. We lift them up to you, asking for you to cover them with your protection. And Father, be with their families today and in the days to come. Again, we love you. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Moving forward, approval of city council minutes. This will be the regular session meeting held April the 9th, 2019. I need a motion to approve or disapprove.
I'll make a motion to approve the April 9th of 2019 regular council meeting.
Do I have any discussion or any changes? All in favor? Passes 6-0. Special call meeting held April the 24th, 2019.
Mayor Council to accept the special call meeting on May 24th, 2019.
Have a motion, do I have a second? Have a second. Any discussion or any changes? All in favor? Passes 6-0. Now, since he missed his own party, and everybody enjoyed the food, I want to introduce our new city manager. If you would, please, sir, come to the podium. Mr. Alex Kohili. Kohili, okay. And tell us about yourself, where you come from, and all that good stuff.
First of all, I want to thank everybody for the welcome. I apologize I came a little bit late, but I got to meet a good many of you. I bring to you a excess of 37 years of public employment at the highest level. I started my career working for the United States House of Representatives when I was a 17-year-old intern. I spent 37 and a half years in Clayton County, starting in the ranks as a firefighter, worked my way all the way up and became fire chief, emergency management, EMS director. And my last 2.5 years there, before I retired the first time, I was also the chief operating officer for Clayton County. I had 21 direct reports, 2,600 employees, full-time employees, 800 part-time employees, and I had to control a budget that started at $165 million and topped out at $200 million. I also have overseen SPLOSH projects in excess of $300 million, so I'm used to dealing with a lot of big issues on a big stage. I have known and loved your community for many years. I live and have resided in Marla, Georgia since 1974. So I raised my children there. I married some loved ones there, and have, so I've known you from afar. Matter of fact, I've read my bicycle and motorcycle through your lovely town since 2010, and got, you know, more and more acquainted with some of the restaurants. Some of the business owners had no idea that it would turn out that this opportunity would afford itself to me for me to be able to apply all my knowledge, skills, and ability and bring that forth to this community. I want to publicly thank the mayor and the city council for their unanimous vote of support in hiring me. It was a very good hiring process, and I was very appreciative of the opportunity. I will pledge to you the same thing that I pledged the mayor and the city council. You'll get my best 100% effort every day. We're going to run an open, honest government. We're going to be transparent in everything we do, but we're going to do things proper and in order in every way, shape, and form. My door will be open. Anytime you want to come and meet with me, all you have to do is call and set an appointment. Or if you have any group, I noticed I spoke to a lady that has a book club, and I wanted to meet with the Historical Society, but if there's any groups, homeowners associations, any civic group that's interested in knowing, wants to have personal contact and understand where we're going in the future, I'll be glad to articulate the will of the mayor and the council. But I'm excited about this opportunity, and I'm excited about the unified spirit that the council and the mayor has exhibited throughout the hiring process. We had some very frank discussions about the future of the city, and I'm excited with their responses, and I'm excited and grateful by their unified spirit that they have expressed, and I'm looking forward to the future. Thank you.
Welcome aboard. Moving on, presentation of a proclamation regarding the City of Hampton poll workers and citizens for remarkable service during the 2018 election cycle. Yes, ma'am. Good morning. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Mildred Spells, and I am chair of the Henry County Board of Elections. And I'm here to present a proclamation to the mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, city council members, and city clerk. The Henry County Board of Elections and Voter Registration recognizes fully the great service rendered citizens and poll workers of the city of Hampton. In recognition of these dedicated and remarkable services, I have the pleasant duty of presenting this proclamation from the Henry County Board of Elections and Voter Registration, which reads as follows. Whereas, during the fall 2018 election cycle, the county experienced a historical high number of voter turnout. We actually had 98,594 in a midterm election in Henry County. And whereas the staff of the Henry County Board of Elections and Registration worked tirelessly to plan and execute the election process with tremendous success. And whereas a dedicated group of Henry County citizens were true patriots and stepped forward to serve as poll workers in the general and/or special without hesitation. And whereas the Board of Education, school administrators at Eagles Landing High School, Stockbridge High School, Ola High School, and Woodland High School each answered the call and supported the quest to have students work as poll workers on election day. The students filled critical positions across the county and gained an insightful first-hand experience of the election process. And whereas both the Democratic and Republican parties provided a group of volunteers to process a historical number of absentee ballots. We actually had 4,995 absentee ballots. And whereas a copy of this proclamation shall be given to citizens, to persons of each of the aforementioned groups, and a file copy sent to the mayors of Hampton, Locust Grove, McDonough, and therefore be it resolved that we, the Henry County Board of Elections and Registration, do hereby hereby recognize the important work and contributions each person made to execute the election process and offer our highest commendation and appreciation to you. And this is signed by me as chair of the Board of Elections, Mildred Schmelz, Dan Richardson, vice chair, Arch Brown, board member, Andy Callaway, board member, and John Kirkpatrick, board member. I, as board chair, ask you to accept this proclamation from hearts full of gratitude for all that you have done.
Thank you, ma'am.
I like to hear the hug.
Nobody got that, my wife didn't see that.
We got it on film.
Thank you. Okay, moving on. Public comment, not to exceed 30 minutes. If you got a comment, please come forward. Ms. Oliver?
Yes, sir. Edna Oliver, Turner College Street. I have questions concerning, under new business, item 7A and 7B. 7A, consideration and action of ordinance, amending the ethics ordinance to include 7 members on the ethics committee. And I'm just curious as to why, as still an odd number, 7 and 5, so is there a problem with the 5 that the 7 could solve?
I think, and I can only speak for myself, I'm not speaking for the council. Some council members felt like that maybe there should be 7 members, each one of them appoint somebody. But I will let the attorney, and everybody else address this when it comes up at that time.
All right. The next one, 7B, action regarding setting a public hearing on June 11th of the consideration of the speed bump at 8 Guido Street.
Yes, ma'am.
Again, I'm just a little, why is it that has to be considered by council? I don't remember in the past things like speed bumps. I mean,
We've had several subdivisions, and I think it takes a percentage. Derek, you can help me here. A percentage of the citizens address you.
Yes, sir. The citizens do, according to the ordinance, the citizens do a petition, and we found some verbiage in the ordinance that now says there should be a public hearing.
Okay.
So before we were getting the petitions, bringing that to the council would vote to approve or not, but now to be in compliance with the ordinance, we are actually doing a public hearing.
Just a public hearing. Okay, thank you.
thank you.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Oliver.
I've got questions about the speed bump as well.
Please come forward and
where-
wait a minute, hang on. Give us your name and address.
My name is Amanda Saxton, and
Okay.
I'm over at 8 Hillside Drive.
Yes, ma'am.
And, were you just asking about Hillside Drive?
Yes, ma'am.
Hill Street, okay.
It is Hillside
It's
Drive.
Hillside Drive.
It's printed incorrectly.
Printed in.
It's Hillside.
Okay.
She's asking about Short, yes.
Okay, I thought I was the only person asking about that.
No.
And I was told several different things, and I've got a petition with 77% of the property owners. And then I was also told that we would have to pay for a percentage of it, and that was not on the original form that I had everybody sign.
We, in the past, the city has allowed, and correct me, council, anybody jumps in anytime you want to, is that if we put a speed bump down, I think we allow 2 per subdivision. John, is that correct, in the past? 2? Okay. But, and have we charged the subdivisions in the past?
I've never taken payment for it, so that would be a question for.
Okay. The council will address all these tonight.
Okay.
Okay?
Thank you.
Thank you. Any more public comment? Quick, we're gonna have to be quick, get out of that chair.
Quick issue, the neighborhood certification. I can't remember what we spoke about, the concerns that they had with the house. Recommendations to amend. We also started to share internal session, I understand there was some concerns about what would happen if people came up in the rest activities and their children that they said but basically, I just want to tell you, internally for 5 years, we tried to work with the Girl Scouts, children, son, and candy. To open up the clubhouse and the parent or the troop leaders can come here, so the residents can come to the clubhouse and tell them this. So we try to work with them, not against them. I don't think that anyone is called the police on that. So don't let that discriminate or update. Item number 2, community yard sale. I believe the current ordinance allows a resident to get permit twice a year without charge to have a yard sale. I'm asking you to amend that ordinance to allow a community to come and get permit on behalf of the whole neighborhood, so everyone that's going to come here will get a permit. That will help us to be more organized, control traffic, improve unity in the neighborhood, and just make it safer. So if you can consider that, I would appreciate it.
Got a question for you, for me, and I know you're on the homeowner association. What are the bylaws for the homeowner association for yard sales and stuff like that? And soliciting in the, are there any?
Well, solicitation is prohibited, period. So, solicitation is prohibited in our neighborhood. We have 1 to 2 signs posted. Most of the time they are ignored. When it comes to yard sales, we mainly just point them to the city because they have to get a permit. We can offer a permit for yard sales, so that's what we've always done.
Okay, thank you. Any more public comments? Come on up. You finally made it.
Yes, I did. My name is Clarence Steve, I'm on 3 Benton Lane, Georgia.
Okay.
My comment concern applies to address attorneys and some other people about the detention pond behind my house.
Yes, sir.
It's been fully overgrown. The city has been cutting it for years. Now I'm informed that they're no longer responsible. It's my problem. I'm like, but I was told from the beginning the city would maintain because I couldn't do nothing with it. So in the opening of the gate is on my neighbor's property. I have no access to get in here. So my concern is mosquitoes and the overgrowth and all this stuff.
What is your address again?
3 Benton Lane. I've been there since 2002. I just been informed today that they're not going to do it anymore.
Okay. Now, who informed you that we wasn't going to be cutting grass?
I wanted, talk to, I don't know what name it is, the lady in the office around there with code enforcement.
Okay.
I talked to the attorney that she was going to do an investigation. I told her to have a meeting with either you or him so we can try to find out what's going on.
I would suggest you get with the city manager and try to work this situation out. Let the city manager handle all the day-to-day operation stuff. Just get with our city manager.
Okay.
Set up a meeting with him. Thank you, sir.
All right, thank you.
Any more public comment?
Okay, thank you. All right.
My name is Taylor Grant. I live at 1 West Main Street.
What's now?
You have a presentation? Okay, if I can't hear you, speak up loud.
Can you hear me?
Speak up loud.
Hello?
Is there a presentation?
It's on the screen.
Okay.
Alright, yeah, this is about the Hampton Skate Park, and this is a huge safety hazard. You out here?
Why don't you tell them what?
Alright. Just one of my biggest concerns with the skate park right now is the concrete on which we're skating on. With close observation, I'll put a couple pictures here. You'll see that due to weathering and other external factors, it's getting a little bit rocky and obstructs the movement of wheels, whether that be skateboards, scooters, bikes, and stuff like that. And myself and others I've seen have failed, like, due to this. I want to bring that up too. And also, I'd like to point out the deterioration of the skate park, the ramps and the rails. As you can see, some of the ramps and the rails are rusting and have a good bit of holes on them. And I just want to bring that up because that is pretty serious when it comes to going down ramps and those type of things, and people skating, and as summer's coming around the corner, it's becoming more busy for those type of things. So, and yeah, that one. And the third one finally is I just want to address the kind of lack of space around the skate park. Of course, you have the main area where you can skate or do things on those ramps, but when it comes to terms of where you're going to ride to after you complete something, there's not really a lot of space for those type of things, pretty much limited. So for those safety hazards, I just wanted to bring up to y'all's attention because I do feel like that's pretty important because as I'm seeing more people are starting to use it, especially around my age and kids, even older people, so I think that's very serious. Some solutions I thought of, most importantly, to fixing the concrete. I think, like, if anything else, the concrete is the most important, kind of like smoothing it out. I find this to be the biggest issue. We could also invest in new ramps and materials that make it easier for visitors of all ages to freely ride around without destruction of the holes or cracks. We could look at other city skate parks, such as the one at Spalding County Parks and Recreation, for ideas and inspiration. And also encourage more of a healthy environment around the skate park area, like rules, light maintenance, and cleaning. Because as I'm seeing as the years go by, it's kind of like becoming a little bit more deteriorated. Even the rule sign it isn't all complete. There's a few gaps in the wordage and those type of things. And I just brought up a few examples, ideas. This is the one in Spalding County. She's kind of like spaced out. And of course, I'm not, requesting just a whole turnover, but I do feel like, as you can see, that concrete's smoother. The ramps and rails a little, more maintained, I guess. And yeah, this is just a couple other images of them. So I guess final remarks with the summer right around the corner. I think these issues are very important. I witnessed numerous children and adults who don't have the opportunity to use a skate park facility anywhere else come and try to use what the city of Hampton has. And more often than not, they turn around due to the lack of the safety precautions. And I guess pointing them towards surrounding, is that the time? Pointing them towards the surrounding parking lot, gazebos and tennis courts, which I'm sure want to happen for people to be riding around there. And then lastly, I just want to put forth my gratitude, though, to even having it there, because I know a lot of cities don't have it. So just the fact that it is there has been helpful to myself and a lot of my friends and many people I see around the community. But I just wanted to pull up those safety hazards because I do feel that's important.
Thank you, sir. Any more public comments? No?
Don Bridge, 1 Main Street. I wanted to thank the 2 members of the Veterans Memorial Markers Volunteer Group who spoke at last month's meeting. The information that's provided allowed our city attorney the opportunity to provide much-needed direction to the council members who have spent much time discussing how to take the program away from the volunteer group that has been over the program for almost 10 years. It's my understanding that these council members did not seek information from any of the volunteers. One of them is a current council member. Instead, those of us in attendance listened to a sincerely disappointing display during council discussion. Its purpose seemed to be to insult the group of dedicated volunteers and oust them from the group's leadership. This program was created to honor those who served our country. This program must not become part of a political power play. These memorial markers are inspiring and reverent. Crosses that line the street on Veterans Day honor and help us remember those who served in times of war and times of peace and then came home without the remainder of their lives. Crosses that sit on the hill outside City Hall on Memorial Day and Veterans Day honor and help us remember those who made the ultimate sacrifice, those who served and did not return home. I am grateful to Charlie and Cindy Hahn, who brought the idea for these markers here to Hampton. I am grateful for a previous administration who supported the start of this program. I am grateful to a dedicated group of volunteers that year after year have given their time to ensure that the Veterans Memorial Markers program continues. Thank you.
Thank you. Any more public comments?
Michael Walker, 1211 Pebble Rock Road, Cobblestone subdivision. I want to thank the city for the program to resurface some of our streets. They are badly needed, and one thing I can hope that the sewer caps on Cobblestone will be lowered back down to the surface, that they gradually sit out 3 inches above the road surface. And on another note, the peddling and soliciting ordinance revision before you tonight, requiring approval of the homeowners association prior to granting a license is highly desirable and supported. I have been told that some counties have specific signage that is required to indicate no peddling or soliciting within a covenant-governed subdivision. I'd like to know if there is any such requirement presently existing or anticipated for the city, or should generic signs be appropriate. Section 23-291 of the ordinance states that it's unlawful to peddle, sell, or engage in transit selling without first obtaining a license to do so. What, if anything, would be the punishment for such a breach of the ordinance, if any? While it does not appear clear in the verbiage of the ordinance that it prohibits using of various services such as security systems, lawn service, termite control, internet, phone services, I would like to know if these services are also covered by the ordinance. And is there any provision whereby fundraising activities, such as by schools or church sales of candy or Girl Scout cookie sales, can be allowed to go door to door and not be subject to the fee initially charged? For approval of this revised ordinance, I will convey to the city the decision of our association and how we intend to approve or disapprove such requests. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Any more public comments? Larry?
Good evening, Larry Rucker, 15 Lake Vista Circle. I just provide a information. We are putting up the Veterans Memorial markers for Killed in Action around the City Hall on the grass. We don't put them all up this time. We just put the KIAs up here on the phone. I just wanted to announce that they'll be up for 2 weeks.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Any more public comments? At this time, I'll close the public comments. Move on. Under old business,
Mayor, we've got a motion to amend the agenda that needs to be made for 2 items. One of which is to add the April 23rd ethics report. You have to do it at the next meeting, and it didn't make the agenda.
Okay.
And then secondly is to remove the travel policy, and let me say, the travel policy I know has been before you guys many a times, and I take full responsibility for it not being correct on this last time it being on your agenda, and when it comes back, you shouldn't have that problem again.
Okay. So I need a motion to amend the agenda.
May I make a motion to amend the agenda
For the ethics.
for the ethics for 6B?
To add.
No, to
add
add ethics,
one.
The one for April 23rd, 2014. I mean, sorry.
and removal on 6B.
And remove 6B. Do I have a second?
Okay.
Have a second. Voting on the first one, to add the April 23rd, 2019 Ethics Board, I guess the board recommendation? Yes, sir.
6B is the ordinance for the,
I thought they said 6C.
6B.
6C?
Yes.
Okay, all right, right.
Thank you, sir.
All right.
Okay, to add the April 23rd, 2019 Ethics Board report. I have a motion and a second. All in favor? Passes 6-0. Okay. And then we're going to need a motion for the removal
Of 6C.
of 6C. We have a motion to remove 6C.
May I make a motion to approve 6C?
Okay, do I have a second? Second. Turner? Any discussion? All in favor? Remove 6C. Yes, sir. Yes. Yes, I'm gonna. Okay. I did see our state representative come in. She slid in the back door. If you would like to come forward real quick and give us a little update from the Capitol. And I promise not to hold you long.
Here, Mr. Mayor. Allowing me to address you. I don't have a voice, nowhere it's gone. I'm not sure what all I can bring up today, and we balanced the budget, we're still the best state to do business in. I'm a little concerned for me personally, I'm kind of watching the Hollywood scene to see how that's gonna shake our state. I hope that you all watch it too. I think we spent a lot of money putting our academies in place. Recently, we've been at an event and had an opportunity to speak to somebody that hired extra help on the sets. By law, they're supposed to hire X amount or a certain percentage of Georgia citizens, and I want to see our young people hired. So that's kind of a stick in my craw right now. I can open it to you. Do you have questions?
Is there any questions from our representative from the audience?
Can I make another comment?
You can.
The crosses the cities put up, I think it's such an honor for Hampton to do that, and I really hope that we will consider continuing to do that event. I have family members that are military, and I always take pictures and send to them, and I have a cousin in Kansas City that's now doing it in Overland Park, Kansas City. So you have made a mark across the state, or across the United States. I'm so thankful that you did start that program.
Any question from any council member? Like?
Thank you.
Well, as my mother would say, a hot toddy would probably help your voice. Thank you. Thank you for being here. 6A, action on ethics committee recommendation regarding the ethics complaint filed by a citizen of the city of Hampton against Mr. Councilmember Elton Brown. Ask your attorney, Ms. Rainbow.
Thank you, good afternoon, good evening, everybody. Sure. Am I gonna address now the March and the April tonight as well?
Yes, they added the 23rd.
Okay, okay.
Yes, ma'am.
So on March, on the decision, it says the 18th, but it actually took place on the 19th of March this year. And there were, I just want to clarify, because I know there's been a lot in the community about it, but there was actually 3 different complaints that were filed. One was filed by Linda Dodgen, the other by Luann Pyle, and the other by R.D.J. Lowe against Mr. Elton Brown. They were listened to as separate complaints, and we felt that it would be appropriate to listen to them all on the same day because it referenced the same violation. Each complainant was given their time, and Mr. Brown was also allotted time to respond to each additional complaint. So nobody was afforded less time than another. I just wanted to clarify that for everybody. In the alleged fact, in the alleged violation, it was alleged that Mr. Brown did in fact violate section 2-2915, 2-2923, and 2-46. However, the board, the ethics committee found that there was only one violation, and that was for section 2-291. and it was a unanimous vote, 5-0. The board really really made that decision based on the fact that Mr. Lowe presented in his presentation, and therefore the board only recommended that there be a public reprimand, just one, not that each individual violation deserves one. So I just wanted to clarify as well. And in the rationale as to why there was a public, basically, the board felt that this type of conduct is unbecoming of a public official representing the city and its constituents, and therefore must not be exhibited in public forum. And because it was exhibited in a public forum, the board found that it would be appropriate to have a public reprimand, and that's what they decided on that day. Okay?
So on this action, it just enter all this into the minutes of this meeting. Is
That's
that correct?
correct. It's just stating that there was a violation
Okay.
in public. And that's what the board recommended.
Okay, let the record show that all this information was entered into public record. Okay? For the April 23rd now?
Yes, the April
Mayor,
20,
sorry to interrupt, do you want to take council action on them separately? Now, and then you'll hear about the April 23rd and take your council action on that one?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so
What do we-
2-309, B5 requires that once the recommendation is made to the city council, the city council shall take action upon the recommendation of the executive committee at the next regular meeting, which is where we are. And so, it's appropriate for the council to either vote to accept that recommendation or turn it down.
I need a motion.
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion that we accept the recommendation of the Ethics Committee.
Second. Any discussion? All in favor? All opposed? Passes 5-0. Okay, now for the April 23rd?
April 23rd, was a little bit of a longer evening.
Yes.
We had, Mr. Brown did file a complaint against yourself, Mr. Hutchinson, Mr. Mitchell, and Ms. Bowe. And in that complaint, it was alleged that the respondents had violated section 2-292, 1, 2, and 3, the intent portion of the ordinance, confidentiality in executive session, and section 2-298, A, B, and C. There was a lot of testimony provided, and again, it was one complaint, but each individual respondent was allotted the opportunity to address their complaint, the complainant. And the complainant was also allotted the time for each individual respondent. So I did want to clarify that for the record. In regards to section 2-2921, the intent, there was no violation. In regards to 2-292, 2 and 3 as well, there was no violation. However, for 2-2923, the panel did have some concerns as to what was being exhibited by the city leadership and its intent of affecting the confidence of the public and the integrity of those who conduct the affairs and business of the city of Hampton. They believe that the trust of the citizens in the government is cultivating when individual public servants act with integrity, and the public is aware that the servants act with integrity. So they did want to make note of that in this decision. Even though they didn't find a violation of any of these sections that were brought up, they did have some concerns about how that business was handled, so I did want to make that into the record. And as far as section, and that was a 2-2 vote, so the rest was split, so you can see that there was some concern about that. Okay. Everything else was a 0-4 vote, so section 2-298. A, B, and C was also a 0-4 vote. And therefore, there was no violation of that. So it's found just those concerns that I wanted to share. And that was on April 23rd.
Okay.
No vote is needed because there didn't sound like there's any disciplinary action to invoke.
Okay. Thank you, ma'am. Consideration and action on approval of ordinance 475, second reading, amending Division 2, Article 7, peddlers and solicitors. This falls under my Mayor Pro Tem.
up on ordinance 475, second reading, amend the, housing for the time.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion?
Mayor, there is some discussion, and if the council wants to start it, as you're aware, at the last meeting, we did hear from citizens about different things that could go in the ordinance to make it, more user-friendly, and one of those things was getting the letter from an HOA president, and so that is reflected in the ordinance that is before you for second read. The second thing, and it was mentioned just in public comment today, was whether or not the city was interested in, stopping the fundraising of schools, Girl Scouts, that kind of thing, and so in the first section of the ordinance tonight, you also have the change that fundraising, political, and religious activities is exempted from having to get the license.
Okay, do I have a second? Do I have a motion and a second? Any more discussion? All in, Ms. Brown?
I'm not sure if I just misheard, but it seems like, the two gentlemen that spoke about this particular, ordinance had conflict in interest.
No.
They're on the same page?
I think they are.
Okay.
And I think this ordinance addresses both of their concerns.
Okay.
We have, include each of the, complaints or position from the resident. So we, cover all these reasons.
Okay, have a motion and a second. Any more discussion? All in favor? Passes 6-0, second reading. Okay. We've removed 6B. 6D, updating discussion on West Main Street widening project, Mark Whitley and John. Okay, John.
As we know, West Main Street widening has been a, ongoing project for a few years now. I feel that we need to move on with this project and get it taken care of. There was a community meeting held with the residents of that area. They were not satisfied with the original drawing of it being a two-way street. They would want a one-way street. The reason this needs to be brought up because we need to ask for the CDBG grant in May to carry on with this project. That is, and we need to have another community meeting to show a conceptual drawing of the one-way street.
Okay. One-way street running which direction? Up toward Oak Street or down toward the north?
Well, that's in the conceptual as well.
Mr. City Manager, do you have anything?
Mr. Mayor and Council, I'd like to just add this information since I'm new to the party and been here all of 7 days. I knew this was going to be a hot topic, and the research that I've done, I want everyone to understand what we have faced. It appears that based on action in the past, that the city has expended or encumbered about $26,000 in cost as far as design for a civil drawing which went along the original concept of having a two-way street. Okay? We do have a sense of urgency that we need to make a commitment today, get some direction, make sure that we're unified and we want to secure the CDBG money, because it's my understanding it's in excess of $300,000 that's on offer. We need to be able to communicate to Henry County by the end of the month, yay or nay, are we committed to going for the project? But I want you to keep these factors in mind. We have spent about $26,000 or paid, I think $19,000. We have about $6,000 or 6 or 7 in outstanding civil drawings, which are only 95% complete. Well, when the last 6, it was estimated to take about 6,000 to complete it, but that's for a two-way street. Okay, that's two-way, which my understanding the public was against. Mr. Whitley has done a conceptual drawing, which will show what the potential is of how it would look one way, but those are not construction documents. Okay, they're not construction documents. Also, it is estimated that the CDBG fund will not be sufficient to fully fund the project. When we do a project, you have to allow for soft costs. You have to have civil drawings that need to be complete. They also, once they're complete, you have to have a complete scope of work with construction documents that the bidders can accurately bid on. And it's got to accommodate, it has to account for every single aspect. We also have to fold into our project budget project management fees, including concrete testing, make sure that it's passed, you know, they poured the concrete at proper PSI level, all that sort of thing, that the slope and grade is according to the drawings, okay? So, I don't want to state publicly what we think the project will be, but what is important is that you need to keep in mind is we only have $1 million in this year's budget for total street paving, okay? Now, Mr. Scroggins has had in the next, he's enumerated some streets with some estimates, which isn't always a good idea to publicly state what you think your budget's going to be, because when we go to seal bid, and if people know how much money you have in your pocket, then mysteriously those estimates tend to float up. So we want to protect city dollars as much as possible. So what I do think is important to know that the present project will probably exceed by the CDBG allotted money, okay? We might need to have a match of close to maybe about 75% in match in addition to CDBG money, okay? I'll just give you a percentage, okay? And so that's going to have to come from somewhere. That will probably have to come out of our road resurfacing line item, which means the list on the streets that are listed in your packet that have been earmarked as most crucial, while they have associated estimates to them, we're going to have to do a triage. You know, if we can't fund it all, then we're going to have to do something, okay? Now, we're probably going to be spanning fiscal years, because there's no way we can start and complete the project within this fiscal year, but I'm just saying to you, keep that in mind. We're talking about what's in this fiscal year, so whatever falls short, we'll have to accommodate your wishes, your desires, and the citizens going forward. Okay.
I believe the door has to stay open. That's okay. I think that place is full.
The only other step, I think we need some indication from the board that this project here is a priority, and that we need to indicate, if I can get some indication from the mayor and council that this is a priority to go forward, then I can communicate that to Henry County, and then I can go about setting a project budget so that we get this moving and answer the needs of our citizens.
I need a motion to direct the city manager.
Mr. Mayor, council, I'd like to make a motion to direct the city manager to go ahead with the proposed plans for widening West Main Street.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Any more discussion?
I do have some discussion on
Go ahead,
it.
Amy.
After our last community meeting, I did speak with several of the residents that were actually at the community meeting. During that community meeting, what they said was that they were in favor of a one-way street, but after the meeting, they came back and said, oh, we don't know if we really want a one-way street. We really want a one-way street. So of course, we're gonna have the concept that we had with the two-way street when we have this next community meeting, and a one-way street. What I want to make sure is that we make sure we reach out to the Caldwell community, because they are going to be impacted if we do a one-way street big time. Also, the little side street, which is Central, I believe, make sure that they get lettering, letting them know that this is a possibility that this will go to a one-way street. If they want to have an opinion about it, they need to come to the community meeting. And we need to set a date for that community meeting.
I hear you loud and clear, so here's how I interpret my marching orders based on your vote tonight. Schedule a community meeting. You didn't say this, but I'm going to take the liberty to take this advice. I think we need to have a traffic engineering study that will, I'm talking about a long study, but to say what the pros and cons are going to be I want to have a traffic engineer be able to be in attendance there to give responses to the citizens, what the pros and cons would be, one-way versus two-way. We can review the conceptual work that Mr. Whitley has already done, so that everyone can have that on their, and that information available to them. Then I'll await direction, whatever the council has decided, whether they're up or down on a two-way or one-way. But I will go forward and notify Henry County. We're going to try. So what the final drawing is going to be is up to the Hampton City Council, but I need to secure the money. Thank you very much.
Any more comments?
Is there a proposed date for the,
I think we ought to move as quickly as possible so we can get the notification. I would like to do it before the end of the month, no later than the first week in June, so that we can at least get that out of the way before the next, our next business meeting. If that suits y'all, unless there's any downside to that, I'll make it a priority to make that happen.
I would do it now between now and Memorial Day, trying to get it, because a lot of people will be out of town Memorial Day. Now to start the vacation season, try to schedule it between now and then.
Thursday, probably will be the best,
Thursday. I remember you saying that. Thursday evening, so we can get everybody there, right?
You have to be at, 7:30? 7.
Is the timeline for the CDBG, money, is that a year, or how does that work? What do we have to do?
I think once we make a commitment, we have to show substantial progress within the project. I believe that that's how that goes. And if I'm incorrect, I'll correct that.
Any more discussion? All in favor? Passes 6-0. You got your marching order.
Thanks, sir.
Update and on roads resurfacing projects for Public Works Director John Cragen.
The road list that you have are only as costs.
No, just the one
but these roads were chosen by the IMS report that we've got. We have the money, the $1 million in the budget for the road. If you have these, of course, they're over. They're only estimates. I wanted to put everything on there that we could get after we got a bid solicited for this, if you come back. And that's why I put those numbers on there, which I know that's more than $1 million, but they're only estimates.
Okay.
And that's just letting you know the streets that were chosen for this program.
Do I have a motion to approve any of this, or before we start discussion?
I would like to just make this recommendation. I would prefer that I bring back after we get the first piece of the puzzle in place, which is the road widening, since that'll trigger everything else. Once we get that estimate back, I would propose to bring back to you an updated, revised list and know how much money we have left, and then make recommendations to you and let you decide which ones are the most priority. Because we're going to triage. We're not going to be able to afford everything now, and we may be able to encumber and roll over this year's budget.
Can you bring this back to us for our July meeting?
I don't know about July, but I'll try, okay? If not, certainly by August.
Okay.
I got one question. These roads that's been chosen on here, I know they came from the IMS report in regards to the first year reconstruction. Was these the only one that was in the first year reconstruction, or was there more?
There were more, but
So how did we
the budgetary, we chose by the budgetary number that we have.
Okay, so we got some more that we could have chose. but
These
we-
were chose, me and Mr. Whitley sat down and chose, and we went through the roads that needed it. We wanted to go between the 50 and 60% of the roads like we were told by IMS, and keep us in the budget. This is the numbers, this is the roads we came up.
I'd like to put this off and let you get, like I said, look at the West Main Street and come back, bring this, I'll even give you to the August council meeting to get the numbers correct.
Thank you.
New business. Consideration and action on ordinance number 477, first reading, amending the ethics ordinance to include 7 members of the ethics committee instead of 5 members.
Mr. Mayor, did we defer this last time?
Yes, ma'am, we put it off to,
Okay, so-
talk about the roads.
Right.
Yeah, we just put it off until the July or August council meeting. He will come back with some numbers. It was just an update. It was just an update. Okay. Which one of my council people for the ethics ordinance? Oh, Henry?
I asked for this to be considered. In the past, we have had times when there wasn't enough people to have meetings because there's only 5 or 2 of them can't make it, and they don't have a quorum, they can't have the meeting. And also, I think it myself that it would be better to have 7 people making a decision on an ethics complaint instead of 5. And it could be as few as 4, like there was on the last one that we just heard. And most of our committees, if not all, we all appoint somebody to each committee. And in this ordinance, you can remove somebody from the committee with 5 people voting to do so.
Ms. Wiggins, you got anything to add to this? Okay. So, Henry, you gonna make a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve ordinance 477.
Okay, do I have a second? Do I have a second by Stephanie? Any discussion? All in favor? All opposed? It's failed 4-2. Consideration and action regarding setting a public hearing on the June 11th, 2019, considering on the speed hump at number 8 Elm Street. John, I guess, or Mr. City Manager? Hill Street?
Hillside.
Okay.
It's just a consideration to put this is consideration to put this on the agenda,
Okay.
For a public hearing, and it's actually not ordinance.
Okay.
If that's all this is.
Okay. Thank you, John.
Mr. Mayor, make a motion that we, schedule a public hearing for June the 11th for speed humps on Hillside, 8 Hillside Drive Street. Hillside Drive, not Hill Street.
Hillside Drive.
Okay.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Question.
Oh, yes, Mr. Brown.
Have all the requirements for this been met, all the prerequisites for this been met? Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Go ahead, Henry.
I was just gonna say that, in the past, we haven't ever charged, the subdivision for any street roads. The city has done that, paid for it completely.
Okay.
In the ordinance it says that it may be a cost that carries over to the resident.
Okay, any more discussion? All in favor? Okay, there'll be a public hearing, where's the young lady? On June the 11th, 2019, at the council meeting. Okay, moving on, consideration and action on approving resolution 1909 to amend the City of Hampton Personnel Manual regarding annual leave. Norm,
Yes, sir.
come on up.
We're requesting a change to policy based on retention and recruiting going forward, and losing employees and trying to gain new employees. Currently, it calls for you're not getting vacation time until after you have been here a year, and then you would have 5 days, and then after 2 years you would get 10 days. I provided you with the change that will be recommended based on a per pay period basis. from 0 to 3 years, 4 hours per pay period, 4 to 5 years, 6.15 hours, and plus 6 years, 7.69 hours. And also, included in that would be the, current 1 day a year seniority after 3 years. That would be included along
I'm
with.
sorry, I need to correct that. That's, wasn't, I think you co-mingled some of the facts. The accrual needs to be consistent throughout, and the additional awarding manually needs to be based on seniority. We did a study, I don't want to read it in the record wrong, because we've got a couple of exhibits that went. We did a study, and presently, Hampton employees do not get any time off until they've been here a year, which is inconsistent with what you allow for sick leave, okay? And you have a maximum of 240 hours that you can carry over. The intent of this resolution, and we can correct it in the final record and bring it back in August, bring it back in June, if so desired by the city attorney. But when we did a study of our surrounding areas, McDonough, Griffin, there's a range, also Clayton County, Henry County, Fayette County, people we're going to be competing with. Everybody accrues time at a higher rate than we do. Everything here seems to be tied to seniority. We're giving 5 years, and then after that we add on days. In the marketplace, everyone accrues time bi-weekly, by pay period, okay? Then there's additional award of time based on seniority. And then it caps at a certain number. Most of the time it should cap at 20. We have some people here that have carried over more and they have more time. To make us competitive, I believe we need to go to this 4 hours accrual, and then we have a separate scale that after you've been here 3 years, you can get 8 hours on your anniversary day. We're calling for an implementation not to go into effect until the next fiscal year, but it is to get approval now. This will be budget neutral. There's been still up to the department director to approve the time off so that we don't fall below minimum staffing. The police chief's been told he can't let off the entire morning watch to go to Dunkin' Donuts. They got to be at work, we got to have. I'm just teasing, obviously. But so they would be budget neutral, and the main thing is we're going to do accrual at 4 hours per pay period. We're going to maintain the 240 cap that you presently have, okay? We'll bring the second motion back, resolution later on, but that deals with being able to apply unused time towards your retirement, but that needs to come at a later time once we've had the actuary study financial impact on that one. There may be financial impact, and I'll be ready to explain that, but there's no financial impact on this accrual. I guess the way Norm is expressing it to you, he's combining the seniority award and giving it to it as accrual being different. And what I'm saying to you is, our proposal will be 4 hours for everybody, and then when you fall in these various age, seniority age groups, then you'll get additional time, and we'll make the final exhibit clear to you. And we're not calling for implementation before October 1st. Okay.
What he said.
My city attorney, if there are going to be changes in this resolution, should we even go forward with this resolution?
Well, give me 1 second. There's only two changes.
Okay.
Do you see in Exhibit A where it says Part 5 employee benefits? If you go down to the second paragraph that starts for full-time with the chart, second column, it says pay period accrual. It should read 4 hours all the way down.
4 hours
Instead
all
of,
the way down?
So that was the change, Norm. So it should be 4 hours no matter how many years. But then the note that Mr. Cohilas was talking about is the paragraph under the chart, which says, in addition to the 4 hours, employees shall be eligible for 1 day of leave for every year of service after 3 years of uninterrupted service with the city. But your seniority days, that 1 year you get for every year after 3 years, caps at 7.
So the max you can get, so the max you'll be able to get is 20. The combination of seniority and us. And that's why I had to correct it, forgive the interruption, but it was going to give a wrong record.
So if you approve it with 444 in that column, I'll just make the change and give it to whoever gets it.
Need a motion to approve or disapprove the resolution?
I make the motion to approve, the changes that, resolution to amend the, personal manual regarding annual leave.
Do I have a second? I have a second by Mr. Turner. Any discussion?
Yeah, I got it.
Go ahead, Ann.
Okay, so are we saying that we're giving every employee up to 20 days?
No, ma'am.
No.
No, ma'am. You'll start accruing 4 hours per pay period. The change is you'll be able to accrue 4 hours per pay period. You won't have to wait a year. And once you just, take for instance, we hire someone in February. They can't take a vacation until next February. Well, I don't know of anybody with a family that's dying to go on vacation in February. Okay? You know, they want to take their kids to the beach. You can't do it. So in effect, they're not even going to use it for a year and a half. Okay? So the main change is they get to accrue time, and then they get to take time annually, whether they call it vacation or annually, as is approved by the department director. Then, after you've been here 3 years, you start accumulating a day per year with a cap at 7 additional days. You're not allowed to carry over, your city ordinance already says you cannot carry over more than 240 anyway. So that would be the max cap for your most senior employees. Would be 20, but not everybody would get it.
And that would be retroactive for, is that going to be retroactive? So you're going to recalculate everybody's, or just starting effective?
We'll start going forward. It'll go into, we're calling for an effective date of October 1st. Okay.
Any more discussion? Henry?
This would be further permanent. Is there any issues with me voting?
I didn't think so. I don't think you should.
I won't. Okay.
I got one more.
Go ahead, Ann.
Can we change the year that individual begins to become eligible for an extra 1 day? From 3 years to 5 years. Everybody is accruing time, period. They only get the extra time because of how long they've been here. Okay? So, if everybody is accruing time, anyway, it's not like they're not gonna get any vacation time. So, 4 hours, Norm, where you at? 4 hours accrued every pay period, correct?
Right.
How many hours is that for the year? How many weeks are they gonna get out?
It's 104 hours or 13 days.
13 days, everybody's gonna get 2 weeks, period. Right? At 3 years, they will begin to get 1 extra day. And make sure I'm right? Per year.
Per year.
Per year.
Per year.
Not per pay period.
Okay.
Per year on their anniversary.
Okay. So,
You'll get 14 days in a year.
okay, I can do that.
So what had happened was.
Any more discussion? Okay, all in favor of resolution 2019-1909, all in favor? Passes 5-0, Henry abstained. Consideration and action on approval of Main Street Advisory Board member Michelle Hurdle, business owner at Rutabaga. Mr. Dr. Bowman.
Yes, sir, Mr. Mayor.
How are you doing this evening?
Fine, how you all doing? Ladies and gentlemen, here gathered, we're wanting to add Ms. Hurdle, to our advisory board, Main Street Board. She was nominated, recommended, and approved as a board member, and we're asking you for ratification of that approval.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion that we approve Ms. Michelle Hurdle for the Main Street Advisory Board.
Do I have a second?
I need a second.
Okay. Any discussion? All in favor? Passes 6-0. Thank you, sir. The next one is yours too. Consideration and action on amending Main Street Advisory Board bylaws regarding membership.
Yes, sir. Right now, the bylaws caps the number of advisory board members at 9. We would like to increase that number, and the board, the advisory board voted to do so, and the language changes to at least 9. And so we can increase the board to 15 and 21 persons.
Okay.
So you wanted to go to what?
15, 21.
Give her a number.
Right. And so what we did was, based on the need of the advisory board and the need of the work, with the language, we're asking the language to read is that the board will be made up of at least 9. So it could be over 9, but we want to have ideally at least 9, but we could have more than 9.
So you look for flexibility?
Yes, sir.
I have a question, Mayor, if you don't mind.
Go ahead, Ms. Wade.
Does the city council appoint members to the Main Street Advisory Board, correct?
We
You approve the members.
Right.
Outside of the approval, what other input does the council have on what they do?
I mean, he's over it, so we got input in him.
So the only question I have is the authorization for this body to approve their bylaws. It seems like to me their board should approve their own bylaws. Y'all did?
Yes,
I think you did then.
We did, I voted that forward, and we did approve.
I think that's sufficient.
Okay. So we don't need a vote on that one? Okay. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Okay. Consideration and action on approval of a voting delegate to attend the DMA annual membership business meeting on Monday, June 24th, 2019 at 8:30 a.m. at the Savannah Convention Center for the DMA conference. In the past, I've always held that position, but if the council wants to change it, I don't have a problem.
I make a motion that the mayor be the voting delegate for the city of Hampton.
Any discussion? All in favor? Passes 6-0. Positive happening in our community. Mayor and City Council, Councilman Brown, start with you, sir.
We have a couple of them. The festival, the music festival, Bar in the Rain, I thought was a real big success. The event at the park back here at Jailhouse Brewery was really nice, and the jazz festival out front was really good. So it was nice to see a good mix of the community. Love to see more, and I think they're going to grow. The event's going to grow. So I think that was a positive event.
Councilman Bode?
Mr. Mayor, I have a couple of the high school, the Hampton High, last year we saw the softball girls do their proclamation because they went to the Final Four. The baseball team went to playoffs, and that was the first time in the state that the Hampton High baseball team did that. And then there was 4 individuals and 1 group. They were sent to state for National History Day, and that was the first time Hampton High ever sent a group to state. So the high school's doing great. And one of those children that went in the first ever place at state was mine.
That leads me to the next thing, and our own Harper Healthcare and Hunter graduates next week. We're very happy.
I'm glad you graduated.
All right. It was hard, man.
It was a close call.
Hey, my youth council graduates too.
You're all seniors? Yes. Oh, wow.
Okay, so they're right, it's a lot going on, and there's so much that's positive happening. First graduating class of 2019, give it up, so I'm very kind of proud of them. We have Ivan, who is on the youth council, Tania, Jessica, and Hunter. Those four will be graduating this year, so we're thankful that they have participated in our inaugural year for the youth council. I want to kind of make an announcement because I don't want us to forget. I believe we have prayer day on Thursday
Prayer
at
to flag.
5:30.
At the flag.
Prayer to flag pole.
Prayer at the flagpole.
Please come out.
5:30?
Yes, ma'am, 5:30.
5:30. And the theme, I'm going to tell you, because I like history, so my favorite thing, love the festival, great. But the best thing about the festival, in my opinion, was the museum. And I got to give it up to Mr. Rucker, Mrs. Rucker, and Ms. Mary Ellen for opening up the museum for the festival. And I was going through the pictures. My uncle just happened to be in there when I came in, and he was going through the pictures, and we were noticing, and I could see my granddad on one of the pictures that's hanging up in the city museum. So I really thank you guys for the work that you do.
On there, Tim, Mitch.
Brother Bumper, you stand. I want to thank you for your hard work you have done. You have done a great job on this bill. I was here, I enjoyed it. And I want to thank you very much. I want to thank all the graduates. My daughter graduated from high school this year. And my daughter graduated last week from college. And thank you.
New city manager. I noticed this past week there's been a different feeling and atmosphere around City Hall. I noticed a lot positive. I'm not gonna name them all, but I see them all. Paying close attention. And I appreciate it.
Councilman Byrd?
Yeah, I'd just like to thank our economic director, for economic development director, Mr. Bumpus, also for all of his hard work and all these events that's happened in the last month, and also all the city workers and all the volunteers that help make all that happen.
I'm going to wrap it up. This time, last council meeting, I was laying in Emory emergency room with a thing called, a little disease called cellulitis. And I felt the prayers coming out from this community. I thank everybody. I thank you for your prayers. I thank you for my time to recover. The council, thank you. The city employees, thank you. Y'all have done a fantastic job. I know it's hard to lay at Emory and thinking, am I going to keep my leg or am I going to lose a leg? And because I am a diabetic, but God has brought me through this, and God will continue watching over our city. And I just want to say thank you to the community. I think we need an executive session.
Yes. Mr. Mayor, make a motion that we move into executive session for the purpose of real estate, litigation, and personnel.
Okay, all in favor? We're in executive session at 19:29.
You got here? All right. See you early in the morning.
I need a motion to come out of executive session at 20:43 hours.
Make a motion that we come out of executive session at 20:43.
Second. All in favor?
I make a motion that we adjourn.
Buddy, there we go. Need a second? Second. Okay, all in favor? We're adjourned at 20:44.
Well, that was exciting.
That was exciting.
Nice shot. You got me out of that hot shot.
I was bumping into it a minute ago.
Man, this is nice.
This morning has been wonderful.
Night. They're having they're playing their second recital night. See if I catch them.
Here with you.
Slow down.
Will you meet with them, you got some background?
I know something goes on there.
Okay, you gonna meet me, huh?
I'm gonna meet with them.
How y'all doing?
Who you gonna meet?
Y'all doing all right. He gonna meet with the city manager, and I rode with him. Yeah, like so. How can I do it?
Come on, man.
Thank you, Wanda. You're just welcome, thank you. You know, before the meeting,
Don't give in.
I appreciate your help.
Yes, sir. Chris Moore, Alex, how are you? Pleasure to meet you. Thanks for the welcome. Appreciate it. Good to see y'all.
The art program, we got to start on I'm thinking we're going to have a hunt. Because what I want to do is we're rebranding our city. That's right, we're branding, yes. So I'm thinking we need a, like a,
And I've had one.
I heard something about that.
yes, that honey, I did. So I'm thinking we need to first make a decision on which, you know, the critter gonna be our help. A chipmunk? You got time to me? Okay. Okay, give me a minute, give me just 1 minute. Look at you.
Oh, boy, look at this. It's been a busy day. Hey, how are you doing? Well. Yeah. I'll be back. You know, 40 days is over.
Yes, they are. Look, thank God.
I've been to 4 meetings.
I wish you'd been here earlier.
I know, there's a Henry Board of Commissioners meeting.